forget about your own. So what I want you to do today, those of you in the media, those of you that aren't in the media, because the reality is whatever profession you have, whether that's a parent full-time, whether that's an educator, whether that's two comedians who are absolutely hilarious, but they're not stand-up comedians, they're sit-down comedians. Whatever your profession is, I want you today to commit to telling and living your story. Because here's the reality, guys. I understand the struggle. I've been a marketing communications executive my entire career for 25 years. That's what I did. I was telling everyone else's story. And I had to get to a point where I decided that I was going to tell my story. So when I was spending the 25 years telling everyone else's story, I knew that I was getting lost. See, in the 90s, I was responsible for the marketing, some of the biggest artists in the world. Toni Braxton, TLC, but also this unknown teenager. But one day, this kid walks into my office, breaks down crying in my arms, Sherry, no one at this record label believes in me because of this stupid acne and my voice is changing. And the reality is, guys, he was right. So for the next couple of years, me, him, and his mom led the charge to break him as an artist. And some 20 years later, that unknown teenager is now the global superstar, Usher. Now, right before we released his breakout record, y'all know it, you make me want to leave. Sorry, that's it, right? Well, right before we released this record, I know that it's time for me to resign and start my own company. But I also knew that I could never work with Usher, because I knew that he needed my friendship more than my marketing expertise. But I also knew this was going to be a really hard conversation to have with this teenager, because up until this point, so many record executives had turned their backs on it. So as we sat in the office lobby, Shanti, you remember the lobby downstairs, it had this little place where you could sit, so we're sitting in the office lobby, and I held his hands, and I shared with him that I can no longer work at LaFace because I've got to start my own company. Yes! Oh, Sherry, that's what I'm talking about. Now, you can work with me exclusively. No, I had to tell him I couldn't work with him. How many of you have made a decision that you knew was going to cost you money, opportunity, and career advancement? And some of you made that kind of decision. People thought I was crazy to pass up hundreds of thousands, 20 years later, millions of dollars not working with Usher. And when I say people, I mean me. But let me tell you guys, that one right decision allowed me and him to form a bond of a brother and a sister. But more importantly, it allowed me to get crystal clear on my purpose, to serve as an empowerment speaker, life strategist, and author. See, every month in O magazine, that great and wise philosopher, Oprah, shares what she knows for sure. And what I know for sure is there are moments in your life when you have to determine what will you give up to go up. What will you give up to go up? Because see, I worked at LaFace Records. I loved my job. I worked with this amazing woman right here, Shanti Dawes. We're still friends to this day. This is my ride or die. This is my CMB. Delta Jack City. That's my CMB right there. My ride or die. I love the people I work with. I love my artists. I love my job. But I was miserable. I was miserable because every day I was spending my time consumed with everyone's story. The theme for the day was my reality. I had the money. I had the power. I had the respect. did not have a life. And what I want to share with you today is how I committed to stop spending 100% of my time on 10% of who I was. See, when I resigned from the States, I started my journey of what I call exponential living. And I had to commit to my own story. See, last summer, I had my 30-year high school class reunion. Still makes me even brace when I say it. 30-year high school class reunion. And I had a little angst about that. I mean, 30 years is a long time. Outside of some Facebook friends here and there, I hadn't really kept up with my high school classmates in 30 years. And I'm sitting here and I'm getting dressed and I'm standing in the mirror and I'm thinking, God, 30 years? Like, me, 18. I started thinking about that 18-year-old, who I was at 18 and what I was thinking and what I desired. And as I'm thinking through, like, oh my God, like every dream I had when I was 18, I was so blessed that I was living those dreams. I've accomplished those dreams. And I'm getting dressed and I'm thinking in my head, like, when I was 18 and these 30 years and all the times life had then kicked me in my face and I got back up every time I was hit and beat and bruised and I kept on going. And man, I'm telling you, I started hearing Jay-Z in my head, allowing me to reintroduce myself. You know, I was feeling and I'm dancing. And I'm going to tell y'all something. There is a freedom you get dancing in the mirror naked. Okay? Right? So I'm just like, allow me to reintroduce myself. And I'm getting ready for my class reunion. But I realized something very important as I was thinking through those 30 years. I realized something that I had committed to. I realized something that my client, Deanna, has committed to. Now I want you guys, I know you're eating, so I want you to take out your phone. I want you to take out this amazing pad that the National Black MBA Association is giving you. Whatever you can write on your iPad, I need you to write this down. I need you to write this down. I need you to tweet it, you can post it, but most importantly, I need you to say this to yourself, and I need you to repeat this to yourself as many times as you need for it to get in your system. Because what I realized in that moment, dancing in the mirror, is that you have to do the work on your life the same way you commit your life to your work. I'm going to say that again. You have to do the work on your life the same way you commit your life to your work. See, that's what I love about Deanna, that as an amazing Vice President of Marketing and Business and Partnership, business partner. Did I get it right there?
Partner development.
Partner development.
That's okay.
Every day she's committed to the excellence of the National Black MBA Association. But what I also respect about her is she's also committed to working on her life. And so many of us forget that critical piece of working on our life. So in my book, Exponential Living, I share the 9 principles that we can follow and practice that allow us to do that. Because what I get all the time is, okay, Sharon, that's cool, but how do I do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because today, with the time that I have, I just want to share the first principle, which is live in your power. Live in your power. Again, the theme for the day is money, power, respect. That's the key to life. Y'all know what Kim, right? Who's going to the show tonight? Right? That's the key to life, right? Well, I'm here to challenge you to say that that's not the only key. The other key is peace, courage, clarity, and focusing on your own story. So the first principle in doing that is your perspective. What is your perspective? What vision do you have for your life? As Deanna shared, I had the honor of serving as a personal development coach of record for Steve Harvey's Radical Success Institute, and I was one of the featured speakers for his inaugural